Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Yeah. Bong. The room is still overflowing. I should switch tam-tams. I keep saying I'm going to do that, but they're like heavy, and I got to drag out some of the other ones that are in the other room there. Anyway, we're still working backwards through the letter H, HIs and HEs. We just did Hildegard in our last video. And now we have Jennifer Higdon. Well, we're working on female composers. Jennifer Higdon was born in 1962, so she's only a year younger than me. And she's been a major voice in American contemporary music now for a couple of decades. She isn't getting quite as much play as she used to because there are no labels doing promotions. That doesn't mean recordings aren't made. Of course they are, but nobody tells us what they are, promotes them. And so the names don't come out with quite the PR that they used to. But she was an exciting thing, and I hope she's doing well. I mean, I've seen some, notices of things that she's written. She, since the early works that sort of made her reputation, which we're going to talk about here, she's done zillions of concertos and other things, and she's been quite prolific. So we begin with Cityscape, and her concerto for orchestra. Brilliant works, exciting. She's not afraid of a tune. She writes very well for the ensemble. She's marvelously played by the Atlanta Symphony and Robert Spano on Telarc, back when Telarc still existed. It's just so terrible what happened to Telarc. I mean, come on, Concord Music. Do something with Telarc. It's crazy. Everything that they did was systematic, so it's all boxable and you could do something anyway. But the concerto for orchestra is in 5 really exciting movements, alternately virtuosic and lyrical. Cityscape has 3 movements: Skyline, River Sings a Song to Trees, and Peachtree Street, Atlanta. That's the Cityscape for the Atlanta Symphony. Brilliant sonics, wonderful performances, and music worth getting to know. Here's another splendid Telarc disc, Rainbow Body. 2 American classics with 2 premieres. It's a wonderful program. First, Christopher Theophanides, his Rainbow Body, which is a big, brilliant orchestral thing. Samuel Barber's Symphony No. 1, Copland Suite from Appalachian Spring, and then Higdon's Blue Cathedral, which is a celestial vision. And it sounds very celestial. It really does. Again, brilliant performances, splendid sonics, Robert Spano and the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. And God knows if this stuff is still around. Then we've got Kurt Hessenberg. Well, this is interesting. I remember reviewing this. Hessenberg, his Symphony No. 2 and his Concerto No. 1 for orchestra. He was one of the sort of Nazi composers, to put it that way. And let's see, he lived from 1908 to 1994. And the Concerto No. 1 for orchestra, subtitled Concerto Grosso, was 1938. His second symphony was 1943. The Slovak Radio Symphony Orchestra under Leland's son, and on Cassandra Records. It's an interesting period, actually. It's, if you we condemn, of course, composers who were active during the Nazi period, but there's not a lot of difference in what they were doing from what the National Socialists were doing under Stalin. I mean, it's music written under fascism or autocracy or whatever it was. And, it tends to be listenable, and some of it's not that great. And this, if I recall right, wasn't that great. I should go up and look up the review. But this popped up unannounced. I didn't realize it was down here in the Overflow room. So Kurt Hessenberg is a little different. And then we've got Dreams of Alice. This is a musical by Gilbert Heatherwick. Who was Gilbert Heatherwick? Well, Gilbert Heatherwick was the head of EMI Records in the U.S. for many, many years. He is, I suppose, he's still out there. Hi, Gilbert, if you're out there. And was, when he was head of EMI, a really, really nice guy. I mean, he was smart. He was musical. He was everything the music industry despises. Somebody who knew what he was doing, who could speak articulately, who wasn't a fool, So needless to say, he only had a limited tenure at EMI. And in real life, he was a composer of American musical theater and things like that. And this was a copy of a disc he sent me. It was an Alice in Wonderland musical. So, I've always hung on to it, and I enjoyed it. I mean, he was very talented. He really was. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't a clue. But, there's contact information on the back. So if anybody wants to produce Dreams of Alice by Gilbert Heatherwick, give me a yell. And I don't know if he's even still at this contact information, but I wish him well. I really do. And I'm happy to have encountered his work and his person back in the day. Then we've got Henry Herz, Henry Herz, actually, 1803 to 1888, part of the Romantic Piano Concertos, Volume 40, which means this disc, which contains Piano Concertos 3, 4, and 5 with Howard Shelley and the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra, will be in the big box of the first 50 volumes of the Romantic Piano Concerto series, which is imminent. It's supposed to be out very shortly, and everybody's getting really excited to see it again, of course, because most of us didn't get all of it, and we can fill in the gaps, and it should be a tremendous event. So I don't have to talk about this that much now. This is a typical romantic piano concertoism. Lots of virtuosity, fabulous keyboard writing, instrumental stuff that's a little bit less interesting, tunes that are sometimes marvelous and sometimes less so. It's good, second-rate romantic piano music. The fourth piano concerto has a Russian rondo in the finale, which is really kind of fun. The fifth piano concerto, which is his opus 180, is only 16 minutes long and 3 movements. It's a tiny little thing. But the other two are big and fun. So there's those. And then last but not least, Michael Hersch, American composer, born in 1971. He was winner of the prestigious Berlin Prize and the Rome Prize for composition, and he's been described as a new hope of American musical culture. Really? Please. Not that he doesn't deserve it, it's just that what does that mean, right? I mean, come on. Anyway, on this disc, which I reviewed at classicstoday.com, and you can go have a look there. In fact, I think you can have a look at most of these being reviewed at classicstoday.com because they were all listened to carefully and covered by me at one point. His 2 symphonies, numbers 1 and 2, a piece called Fracta and Arraché. These are all written between 1998 and 2004. And it features the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra and Marin Alsop on Naxos. Their world premiere recordings, very well played. And the music is worthy. That's the best thing I can say about it, I think. It's not that it's serious. And sometimes I think, as I point out in the review at Classics Today, he's working a little bit too hard. It's a little too serious. It's a little heavy duty. But it's good music, and it's solidly crafted and interesting to hear. And I think he needs to lighten up a bit. But he's, he was young then, and, maybe he was going through a Sturm und Drang period. Who knows? He's worth getting to know. His music really is. And so I'm happy to be able to talk about this disc again. It's been a long time since, he's gotten any mention. That's the sad thing about this. How are we going to be able to keep track of all this music from all these composers, new and old, if nobody talks about them with any regularity? I mean, I can't afford to do a Michael Hersch video every other day. There has to be a medium, a mechanism. There used to be publicity. There used to be advertising in the classical music world. And now there's just nothing, absolutely nothing. So we do our best to try and bring this stuff to your attention. I mean, me and my colleagues, we're all working on it, but, our reach is limited. So tell all your friends to subscribe to this channel. Let's get billions of people watching, and maybe they'll all keep on listening. And that's what we're all going to do. So take care, friends. Thanks for joining me. See you shortly.